Well, as usual, I like to do a reflection after every competition I do, and last week I did the 2015 Holdsworth Trophy at Melbourne Archery Club. Fantastic spring day, a great return to the outdoor spring season, and I was actually holding off on doing this because I had a really, it was a really good day, but I was having a really bad time. I was shooting really poorly, my worst ever. And I just had this really big bout of negativity, and I wasn't sure whether to kind of come out with the first honest reflection, or whether I want to kind of let it settle for a bit and rethink things, and wonder if there was more to it. So it turns out that I've been actually quite sick the last few days. I've had the cold, or the man flu, and it really kind of spiked up during the competition. So I lost a lot of that focus and that rhythm that comes with having good health and good mentality, and it came in very stressed. So it wasn't as clean an event as I hoped it would be for myself. I mean, the event itself was fine. I just did really poorly, but I thought I'd break it down into a few different ways to kind of reflect on some of the positives as well as some of the parts which really threw me off. As a bit of background, I have a particular connection with this event, which is run every year. 2 years ago, this was my very first competitive event outside of my club. And at that time, it was the hardest thing I've ever done because I don't shoot 70 meters. So I really go beyond 50, 60 meters. So I don't spend much time shooting long distance, and it wasn't really the sort of thing which appealed to me. So I kind of jumped into it, being underprepared. And I broke arrows, I lost arrows, but that event was very important to me because it pushed me outside of my comfort zone. That was 2 years ago, and I won a trophy, just like a second place or first place in third class or something, which it's really insignificant. Like the actual ranking was very low, but the fact that I went and I got something shinier from it, it really motivated me to do more competitive archery. And I keep coming back every year to experience the same feeling, because the event does offer something for everyone. You don't have to compete against the top tier archers. It's about you and yourself, but you are separated based on your classification and your scores and your flight, and you get your trophy based on that. And I think that's a very nice way to encourage people to set reasonable, achievable goals. So this second year, I did the Rabbin Shield, which is the same event, I think. And I came back with a bigger trophy. This is like third class, first place. It still isn't a big deal to me. Like, it's still like the bottom tier. But again, it's about setting reasonable goals. And, the year going onwards, I felt like I could achieve more. I did the state championship earlier this year, and I, set myself a few people who I thought I could reasonably compete against and actually beat them. It felt really good. And then it was the winter season. And unfortunately, my club doesn't shoot indoor, so I missed out on about a few months of, good practice weather, didn't compete for 6 months, and a lot of things happened in that time. In the club, in my personal life, and, I didn't really have I didn't have the focus that I needed going into this event. Coming into this event, I was looking forward to it, but again, I have a lot of anxiety of shooting long distance, and a lot of it comes down to the fact that I haven't really done much of it. I still came up with a trophy. I'm still floating around in third class, so I don't know, it's kind of fun. By the way, nice trophy. I like the black boomerangs. They look great. Nice change from the giant, plastic, gilter ones. So it's nice to get a try. I didn't expect this, to be honest. I've been floating around that kind of bottom tier for a long time. I was really hoping to kind of push that barrier and get to the second tier. Didn't happen, and fair enough. I knew what was going on. There were a lot of things which weren't going right for me. And, in hindsight, it was kind of stupid, but, and during the day, I just felt really, really terrible, devastated, as some would say. And, there are a few reasons why. First, I'll start with positive. One of the things I've had, some problems with is, being in good, competition fitness or conditioning. And, honestly, I said I've been training the last few months and kind of out of it and other things. I've gained a bit of weight since, which is, no, I'm not fat, but still, it's not something I was kind of, trying to aim for. But the plus side is that I normally struggle with endurance. These are very long events that do go from like 9 in the morning to like 4 in the afternoon, with breaks in between, of course. But I often do struggle to get through a whole round. I've been trying to do more shooting as of late, and after about a year of shooting, I did manage to get through the whole round without struggling. I felt that I had the same control over my last few shots as I did my first few shots. So that's a plus. I had the endurance. I didn't really deteriorate throughout the day. Everything felt nice and controlled. The downside is that I sucked really badly. It was probably my worst round I've ever shot. I mean, this is a sport where each round you should be scoring your personal best, but this is definitely my personal worst. I'll say it kind of neutrally now. At the time, I felt horrible about it, but after a week, I thought, okay, it's done. I've forgotten about it. It's okay. We have bad rounds. And coming into it, I think I had a pretty bad mindset. I didn't really have a winning mindset. I was kind of making excuses for not training and avoiding things, and had a lot of stress with me, and all these things play mental games. And archery is such a big mental game that if you're not 100% focused, it's really hard to get the physical side correct. So things like technique and sight picture and clean release. I mean, I thought I was releasing okay on the day, but everything else was just really poor. It almost felt like I had target panic. I was second guessing the sight picture. Wasn't sure I was aiming at the wind. I mean, it was kind of windy, and a lot of people were having trouble in the wind. But I felt the wind didn't affect me that much. It's just that I was shooting really poorly in general, and the wind just made things worse. So during the day, it just felt like everything had fallen apart. And you will have times where you have this drop in your form. It's like a meltdown. It's like a form meltdown. And that's what I had, kind of coming into the first distance at 70 meters. I mean, I didn't expect to do well at 70 meters, but I didn't expect it to do that poorly. And especially when we got closer, things got worse and worse rather than better. I was missing a lot. I missed an average of like 1 arrow every end. And that was pretty dismal. Even at 50 meters or 40 meters, look, I'm not a good archer, but I never miss at 40 meters. That's quite a close distance. 50 meters, I don't miss. I get things on target. But I'm going up to today, I was having some pretty significant problems. I was in fact missing the target. There were times where the sight picture was completely wrong. There were times where I would the string was stuck in my finger. It wouldn't release very clean. It's kind of like an involuntary jerk. Not so much a pluck. It's kind of like you release, and there's this kind of spasm. It's kind of really split second muscle contraction where you collapse. And I would kind of panic and just let go, and that would kind of fling the arrow off to a different target or something. So that was what was happening. It happened at least once per end. So I think there's a chronic problem, which I will have to address. I think the path ahead is a lot more shooting. Thankfully, it's good weather, so I spend more time on the range and do more focused, extended training sessions. But I'd really have to train. I have to break through this period of target panic. And it may be target panic. They're looking at a bright colored circle and trying to line things up. It really destroys you. It affects you. And I think I had some of the symptoms of target panic. So that was one of the things that was happening on the day. Then again, physically, things got worse as the day went on. So from a technique perspective, I think I was really letting myself down. I wasn't really thoroughly prepared for the event, and it really punished me. Something else also happened on the line, which I've heard these things happen, and this is the first time it's happened to me during an event. I had for the first time decided to call an equipment failure. What happened, and I didn't know how long this had been happening, but the arm on my arrow rest, and as you know, I use the Hoyt Super Rest, the plastic ones. The arm on my arrow rest actually split. I didn't notice it for the first few ends, but there was one end where my clicker kept on going off. I would put the arrow on, put the clicker on, and the moment I would put some tension on the string, the clicker would go off, and I wasn't sure why. And I at the time I was kind of panicking. So I got like 20 seconds left on the clock. I have this clicker which won't stay on. And I could call for equipment failure, but I thought, you know what, it's probably my problem. I did the shot anyway, and it was a horrible shot. I missed the target completely. And I came back to the next end, and what I noticed was the split, the plastic arm had hadn't come off, but it was nearly come off. The joint between the plastic arm and the rest of the wrist had split nearly all the way. So the arrow was simply falling down the wrist because it could no longer support the arrow's weight. And what I should have done, I should have called the equipment failure right away. Just that I was kind of right in the middle of the next end, and I wasn't familiar with the procedure, and kind of like was really stressed out from it. So I threw 3 arrows, and they were complete misses. They're good groupings. They were just completely off the target because the fact that the arrow can't sit on the wrist meant that it just fell off and fell off to the right. So there was no support for it. So I called the equipment failure after the end, and that was a 0-0-0, complete miss. Now I threw away 30 points potentially, so I guess I shouldn't feel that bad about my score, given that I kind of threw away a lot of points. But yeah, what happened was the judge asked me to replace the rest, and it was a matter of either if it was a quick repair, I could do it between ends and shoot right away. Or if it would take too long, I can call the equipment failure. Everyone would shoot, and I would shoot afterwards. And that was kind of a procedural thing. And at the time, you're underline, you're panicky, you're stressed out, you're anxious, and I probably did the fastest replacement I've ever done, and the most accurate one I've ever done too. Normally, I get the rest aligning correctly. I spent like 5 minutes trying to get the damn thing stuck on properly, but this time was a very smooth thing. Fortunately, I had like 3 or 4 spare rests in my case. So it's a matter of rip off the old rest, peel off the residue adhesive, grab the new packing, tape it on, grab the rest, stick it on, and it was great first time around. So that's something which you have to be prepared for. I keep saying that you should bring spare parts, like things like spare arrowheads or nocks or lanes or tools. And in this case, I had intentionally packed, and I bought extra ones for the event. I packed extra plastic rest. And even if you're using a more solid rest like a Shibuya, one of those metal rest, you still got to bring spare plastic rest because they're really easy to put on. And in this case, it happened to me. My arrow rest broke, and I had to replace it. And opened my case up, opened my pouch, stuck it on, probably less than 5 minutes. And I was back shooting the line in the next end right away. They didn't need to halt the event. And I came back. I still did pretty poorly, mind you, for other reasons. But the fact that I was prepared in this instance, that was probably a big plus for me. And I think if I didn't come prepared, it'd be really awkward and more stressful than it should be. It did throw me off for quite a few ends. But after I calmed down, I started shooting normally again. And after a while, I started to zone in. I think from my last distance, that was my strongest distance, 40 meters. I was still missing the target, I was shooting fairly poorly, but I was starting to get the usual groupings back in the goal again. And it came very late in the day. I had to really shut down and zone out everything and just keep shooting. I think I reached the point where I stopped caring. That in some ways that's a bad thing. But in some ways, that's a good thing because you stop worrying about external factors. You just do the same thing you've done, that's been building your muscle memory after months of training. So that's what basically happened. I had some eventful events during the shoot. I dealt with some of them pretty well. Others, not so much. I have been a little self-critical over the past few months, and I've mentioned this before. A lot of it comes down to how much time I haven't put into archery. And I've been taken away due to things like work commitments, club commitments as well. A lot of that has been very stressful. It's kind of put me off from doing archery. And I haven't really given myself the time I really need to develop as an archer. So I've kind of had this period where I've stalled. I haven't really developed as an archer. And I've regressed in a lot of ways. You know, this the score as an example, how I've gone from improvement to back to square one. And I think that's a pretty normal part of archery. I mean, not everyone has this golden road where they go from like 0 to breaking personal best and world records in one linear motion. It is a sport of highs and slumps. So I definitely went through a slump period, and I think the focus of me is to pick it up and turn it around. I think for me, for people who are experienced for the first time, then I expect everything you do is your personal best. But I've done a few comps now. I haven't really pushed myself to break through some of these barriers, and I've kind of dropped below my own rival competition. There are people who I thought I could outscore. So beat is a bit hard. There's not really competition in that sense, but I thought there were some people I could beat. And I was like 300 points below them, so definitely far below what I was capable of. But from a objective point of view, this is probably a natural consequence of what came before it. And that's what archery competitions are. For people who do archery competitions for the first time, it's really not about doing your best or exceeding your previous scores. A lot of it comes down to shooting the way you normally shoot. And whether or not you perform well in the day depends on how close you can maintain that consistency and rhythm and form that you've been training for the past however months. So for me, I have degenerated in some areas, and I do feel really bad about it. And I'm hopefully next few months, I look forward to good shooting weather, where I will get out there, stay there for later if I have to, and do more practice ends. Anyway, I hope you found this reflection interesting, at least. Hopefully next time I have something more upbeat, but I really am beating myself around with this. So, these things happen. That's what archery is. And hopefully next time I'll do a bit better. This is NUSensei. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.